So this is going to be a snap together story. It's two put together. But first of all, we got to get more attention to the crisis that's happening in Gaza. And Dave Chappelle says that there's a genocide in the Gaza Strip as the Israel-Hamas war rages on. So, of course, glad to have people really calling it out. People speaking out. So American comedian Dave Chappelle said Thursday a genocide is striking the Gaza Strip amid the Israel-Hamas war to cheers during his performance in the capital of the United Arab Emirates. So there you go. While urging Americans to fight anti-Semitism so Jews don't feel like they need to be protected by Israel. Dave Chappelle's comments come as again the United Arab Emirates, its capital, has maintained diplomatic relations with Israel, even as it has increasingly criticized its conduct in the 7-month war, which will still be ongoing. Meanwhile, pro-Palestinian marches have swept across the wider Middle East since the war began. Protests and speech remains tightly restricted in the Emirates, a federation of 7 sheikdoms on the Arabian Peninsula. Even before coming on the stage, the full crowd, again at this arena, cheered DJ Trauma, who accompanied Dave Chappelle on the trip, played the song My Blood is Palestinian by the Palestinian singer Mohammad Asif. The thousands there agreed to place their switched off mobile phones in locked pouches for their performance, a standard feature for Dave Chappelle's shows. About halfway through, in a wide-ranging comedy set, Dave Chappelle, a Muslim, initially said he had been told by his friends either to discuss the war or not. From the audience, a woman screamed, "Free Palestine!" The crowd cheered. Chappelle then said the Gaza Strip faces a genocide. He also said that making Jews safer in America amid rising cases of anti-Semitism would make them realize that they don't need Israel as an ultimate protector. So there you go. I want to pull this up here because this is also breaking news. The ICJ orders that Israel must halt its invasion of Rafah after South Africa's urgent request to the UN Genocide Convention. The judge deems that the humanitarian situation in Rafah has deteriorated and become disastrous. So shot at the hotspot. This was actually breaking news earlier today, so let's play it.
The court considered that in conformity with the obligations under the Genocide Convention, Israel must immediately halt its military offensive and any other action in the Rafah governorate which may inflict on the Palestinian group in Gaza conditions of life that could bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part.
So besides that, we're seeing the ICJ make the statement. But however, despite statements from more people speaking out, more protests continuing on, especially what's going to be happening here in Chicago with the DNC convention, as protesters are being denied the right to permit, denied the right to have a permit to protest. There's been reports about them, again, stating that they're going to protest with or without a permit. The United States, however, U.S. Senate is preparing sanctions on ICC employees. So that's right. The International Criminal Court, its employees are going to get punitive action. U.S. senators have called for punitive action against the International Criminal Court after its chief prosecutor sought arrest warrants for Israel and Hamas leaders over the ongoing Gaza conflict, Fox News reported on Thursday. Earlier this week, ICC prosecutor Karim Khan accused the Israeli prime minister and the defense minister of committing war crimes in the Palestinian enclave. He's requested the ICC issue warrants for their arrest, as well as the arrest of 3 Hamas leaders believed to be responsible for the October 7th attack, which sparked the latest escalation. In response to the move, shockingly, both Democrat and Republican senators Mike Rounds and Joe Manchin called for a resolution that, according to Fox News Digital, would urge President Joe Biden, Joe 30330, and Congress to impose financial sanctions and visa bans on officials of the ICC for an abuse of power that threatens U.S. interests and weakens U.S. allies. Look, even if the ICC does get those arrest warrants, let's say they do get approved by the judges, right? How are you going to enforce it? I mean, it's causing the U.S. politicians here to panic. They're scared. They're afraid. And as I posted on yesterday's show, even Lindsey Graham cracker saying, "Oh, they'll come after us next." Listen. I don't care where you stand politically, but trust me, I think we're better off with all of our politicians being removed. Okay, they're not good people. All right. All what they care about is their political careers. They do insider trading. They only think about their careers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. You are not their number one concern. Anyone that's a diehard Democrat voter, a diehard Republican voter, if you see them, tell them to stop it and get help. Lawmakers said they expect the resolution to serve as a testament to the Senate's resolve to stand with Israel and reject the ICC's actions aimed against senior Israeli officials. They also suggested the resolution would encourage Washington's allies, many of whom are responsible for funding the ICC, to use their leverage to halt the politicized proceedings. Round said the ICC's actions were unconscionable and criticized Khan for effectively comparing Hamas to Israel. Hamas is a brutal terrorist organization, while Israel is a democracy, an ally of the United States that works hard to uphold international law. Sorry. I just thought about all those 140 plus journalists that got killed, first aid workers and, volunteers and, aid relief workers being killed. Never forget what happened to those World Central Kitchen workers, right? Open communication with the IDF. Hey, IDF, we're going from point A to point B and right back from point B to point A using the same route. We are in these 3 vehicles, and we have the WCK logo not only on the roof, but on our trunk and on our doors. Got it. 1, 2, 3. All 3 vehicles destroyed by the IDF. How do you make a mistake like that? Was it a mistake? Manchin called the ICC's decision to charge Israeli officials with war crimes shocking and disgraceful. An existential threat in Hamas is that Israel is facing an existential threat with Hamas, and it had the right to defend itself in a manner expected of a nation that abides by law and armed conflict. Rounds and Manchin's resolution has been co-sponsored by 19 other senators from both sides of the political aisle. Hey, AOC, that's your Democratic Party too. However, it's not yet clear when or if the bill will be brought to the Senate floor. But hold on, let's also introduce House Republicans. Here is Speaker Mike Johnson, threatens to punish the ICC if they file a lawsuit against Israel.
America should punish the ICC and put Karim Khan back in his place. And if the ICC is allowed to threaten Israel's leaders, we know that America will be next. There is a reason that we've never endorsed the International Criminal Court, because it is a direct affront to our own sovereignty. We don't put any international body among or above American sovereignty, and Israel doesn't do that either. Congress is reviewing all of our options right now. We have some very...
Now, I would find that very debatable because AIPAC and other pro-Israeli lobby groups like to donate money to a lot of U.S. politicians, both Democrats and Republicans in the United States Senate and House. And surprisingly, that's money well spent. So there's a lot of international agencies and institutions and governments that like to buy off our politicians. Say that again one more time, buddy.
Or above American sovereignty, and Israel National Criminal Court, because it is a direct affront to our own sovereignty. We don't put any international body among or above American sovereignty, and Israel doesn't do that either. Congress is reviewing all of our options right now. We have some very aggressive legislation that we're going to push as quickly as possible. It will impose sanctions. And if the ICC moves forward with its absurd warrant arrest or request, this is going to be an even bigger international problem.
So it's all one big problem, because how simply dare you try and challenge, try and speak out, try and stand up for human rights. And how dare you make the U.S. politicians feel uncomfortable? Now, look, do I see these arrest warrants following through? If the ICC actually does it, it would be very historic. But there is a problem. How do you enforce it? How do you have follow through? What comes next? Now, seeing the United States and Israel doing this, it's not going to be a very good PR image, because for a long time, the message has always been we must follow international rules, democracy, law and order. And I get it. Hey, everyone should protect their own sovereignty. However, when the whole world is witnessing these crimes taking place in Gaza, when you see men, women, and children starving, they got nowhere safe to go. All of Gaza has been turned into a moonscape, civilian centers blown up, residential homes blown up, community centers blown up, places of worship, not only mosques, but churches too. All the universities, refugee centers, hospitals getting blown up, and there's nowhere safe for people to go. Lack of running water, lack of food, lack of medicine, no cookies, none of that. How do you think people should respond to that? Be like, oh, okay, that's fine. No. because we've all saw the imagery on TikTok and Twitter, but it explains why there's such a massive pushback of censorship and suppression that's happening. This is madness and insanity. And the thing is, we need more people to bravely speak out, not just celebrities, but everybody. This isn't right. And I've always told you guys that our politicians, they only care about the dollar and who owns them. I mean, who donates to them. And so they're going to be in a quick rush to make sure that nothing harms their bread and butter. So they keep on living their best lives, because these politicians, they only care about money and how to enrich themselves. They don't care about you. They were never going to do that, not for you. They were only going to care about who is going to take care of them, and that is their donors, their owners. So shout out to Dave Chappelle for doing the right thing. More people need to speak out. But why is it that I have this pit in my stomach where I have to once again say Bassem Youssef will probably be correct? Israel's going to get away with this. And we're all witnessing firsthand just how devastating this whole conflict is. How many billions of dollars wasted in this war? How many lives forever ruined? All for profit. All for madness. We have to be better.